Hey folks, MasakoX here. Now that we're a few episodes into Daima and you've been sitting on the fence waiting for an opportunity to binge watch some episodes and to catch up even faster, you can go and check out my reviews right here because I've done every single one. So, I think we can easily say that episode 14 of Dragonball Daima is headed toward the endgame. We managed to find some little tidbits, such as that portal was actually going to be very important, and another bit of lore was explained regarding why the demon realm was segmented and might have implied that Neva himself was the instigator of this potential ban because his precious home, the second demon realm, was, well, essentially being overrun by people from the third and the first. He didn't want it being ruined, so therefore they got segmented. You needed warp summers, so that means people could be vetted, so that means people could then frequent, and it was the reason why also the Namekians decided to leave the demon realm to then come to the other universes that were created by the absolute beast and tank that was that Supreme Demon King with the massive tail and the blue skin, and basically, wow. Titan, bulk, Hulk, wow. It was just a unit, let's just say. But I think the main takeaway here is that we've now found out that the Gendarmerie, as well as the Demon Realm, has their own equivalent of the Ginyu Force. I think that is the real takeaway that people had from this episode. And, I mean, come on. What do I think of this crew? I mean, well, they can't hold a candle to the Ginyu Force for starters. Not one of them is blue. I mean, a couple of them at all, but then one of them's not even red and short. There's no yin-yang thing going on here. Let's just be real. I mean, the only distinguishing features is that some of them are a bit chunky, some of them are a little bit spindly, and they have red war paint on their face, and that's it. I mean, there are some personalities and quirks going on here. They do some elaborate dancing, but it's more posing, really. I would say on the flamboyancy scale, it's relatively low. This is much more of a obvious pastiche on the Super Sentai phase and trope that was being parodied by Akira Toriyama to impress his little boy back in the days of the Ginyu Force. That one was a little take and a little tribute to his lad, whereas this one was a more straight-up copy. These are people... Oh, actually, you got to think about the Pride Troopers as well. The Pride Troopers were sort of in there as well. That was more cool. You can also tell that they're not particularly high profile because, as we saw, we got to see once again Majin Duu and Kuu. They were in the convenience store, they wanted to buy chocolate. These guys wanted to be the heroes, but unlike the Pride Troopers, who essentially have unlimited wealth because, well, they have the absolute loyalty of Universe 11, these guys haven't got a buck to their name, or a dokoro or something like that. But Duu and Kuu, they've just managed to endear themselves even more from just one scene because even though they had the chance to get all of that candy and then they were denied, unlike Kid Buu, who would have pretty much destroyed the entire universe because he didn't get what he wanted, these guys are just appreciative of even just getting one chocolate bar and then one bigger chocolate bar. And it's surprisingly odd that Kuu had the bigger one and then Duu got the smaller one. Hey, they're appreciative, they're good people, and this is just another indicator. This is a really subtle scene, and it might have just slipped people by, but come on, these guys are not evil. Even though Maba and Arinisu tried to use the essence of Majin Buu, all they got from that essence was just, well, the innocent side of Majin Buu, even though, in theory, the essence that they got was from the evil and innocent Buu combined. That should have been essentially the most potent version of Buu that they got, as in the most complete. As you can probably tell, my voice is coming back. And there are plenty of things to like from this episode. It still looks really, really good. The animation quality has never really dipped down, in theory, from the entire series as we've seen. And we've been going at this for a good few months now, and it's really not dipped down in terms of quality whatsoever. It's still a really, really good product, and it's really endearing and personable. It's probably one of the most, well, characterful series that we've had from Dragon Ball in quite some time. If Akira Toriyama wanted to make his own version of Dragon Ball GT before he passed away, I think he's easily succeeded. And I definitely think we're now headed into the end game because, well, we pretty much covered everything we need to in the third demon world, the second demon world, and I'm quite surprised that the gates have already been opened. And we've now actually, by the way, that little incantation that we got from the trailer, that wasn't the summoning of the Dragon Drusi. that was actually an incantation for the portal. So, as we've now found out, Neva was the one to put it in place, but it wasn't because he was instructed by the Demon King. It was because of his own instruction. That's what he wanted to do. And now the incantation is known. We might not necessarily see that incantation also being used for the dragon. We might get another one entirely. So that's another little mystery solved from the original trailer. So that's something that's good to know. And also another indicator that Gomah is a very confusing character is that even though he's meant to be incredibly powerful and people are told not to underestimate him, the fact of the matter is, though, is that Degesu and Ainsu immediately sense that the portal has been opened, but Gomah has not got a clue. He basically just thinks that Degesu is delusional and making something out of nothing, trying to scare him, yet he's meant to be this really, really impressive magician or something like that with really deep magical powers. He couldn't sense this really arcane and old magic thing because Piccolo says that, no, legendary Namekian could do this. And Neva's like, yeah, I'm pretty special and legendary and I'm really, really old. So that's something really important to know if you're the Demon King about the capabilities. Also, he's completely blind to the fact that even though he's got eyes on the dragon team, at not one point did Gomah or Degesu notice that Neva was there. Surely there would have been a close-up of like, Neva? What's he doing there? And then Degesu would have gone, oh, I can't believe it. One of my superiors, Neva, is trying to betray us. And my sister too? They're trying to usurp our great leader. And then Gomah would have gone and had a hissy fit. He would try to find some way. I don't know. I'm just getting the sense that Neva, either he's going to try and do something to make sure the next Demon King can have some sort of compromise. That means there is some regulation between the demon worlds. So that means the second demon realm isn't affected as badly. Or he's going to have to end up sacrificing himself to make sure that, well, Gomah doesn't get his way, and that means the Demon Realm Dragon is then deactivated, so that means the Demon Realm is free from the Dragon Balls, that no one can use them against them, and then the Tamagami are either deactivated permanently, or they end up being freed or something like that. So that is something to consider as well. Just a point here, because Neva is very deep and very strong and magical. He's either going to be one of the architects of the new demon world, and then all of the youngsters are going to be able to put that in place, or he's going to have to be the one to sacrifice himself. And therefore, it means it simplifies things. So that's one of my guesses towards that. And also, there is something to point out as well, because the next episode is called Third Eye. And sometimes these episode titles, it's been really weird. We sort of got like a Stockholm syndrome or something, because in Dragon Ball's history, we've been so used to the episode titles essentially giving away about what's about to happen. But now, the Daima episode titles have been just one word or two words. They've been really cryptic. Whereas this one, Third Eye, it's going to be very, very clear. And as we saw from the preview, that Dabura is going to have an appearance, a cameo, and we're going to find out more importance about the Third Eye. And then Hybus is probably just going to go, this bell, this eye I found? I guess it's important after all. And I really like that little scene that Vegeta, he's basically shaming King Kadan, saying, this king is so important, that he has to steal ships. Well, in my day, that wouldn't have happened. My father was better, and I would have been a better king anyway. And it was really cute that, when they were abandoning the ship, that it was going down yet again. Vegeta basically just took Bulma without question. That was a really cute moment, I think. But yes, essentially, Dragon Ball Daima episode 14 was relatively light in terms of action and fighting. It's preparing ourselves. It's a bridging episode. Literally a bridge, because that bridge between them is gone. I wouldn't be surprised that the friends that they picked up along the way in the third demon world will actually come in and help at some very crucial point. I don't know how, whether or not it's meant to just take down the gendarmerie, so that means the dragon team can then go for the big bads ultimately, or what's going to be happening with the Majin Duu and Kuu brothers once they actually get into contact with the dragon team. Are they going to be easily switched? What is Nahare's or Shin's involvement in all of this? Again, this episode, it does have some cool moments in it. The action in itself is cool. And that was a really, really long fall for Goku. It really reminded me of the fireplace scene in JoJo Part 1. you know, Jonathan, Joestar, and Dio, they're falling down really, really fast, and he has to act and think quickly, and therefore he's thinking all of this through. And it's not a really, really tall chimney or anything like that. And then Goku's fall took like 3-4 minutes, and I don't think they were that high above the portal. That was dramatic effect and dramatic licensing, I think. That was a really, really bizarre moment that they could think of all this in just a few seconds. And Neva just knew exactly what to do. It's like, I'm just going to let them figure it out. Okay. No, they're not going to figure it out. I just use my older king magic. Boom, there you go. And Goku didn't even really need saving anyway. That was dramatic effect, I personally think. And I'm really curious to know about what more we'll actually get from a conversation between Piccolo and Neva if there is an opportunity, or it's going to be straight up action. Because I wouldn't be surprised that the gendarmerie at this point, they're just going to be wiped out instantly because, well, Goku and Vegeta are now pretty much essentially at full fighting capability. Piccolo's probably gained some sense of action and stuff, but like he's been relatively light in terms of doing stuff in terms of combat in comparison to Goku and Vegeta. Because Vegeta, he can do Super Saiyan 3. Goku, that'll probably come out sooner or later. Naha is going to have an encounter with either Anisu or Degisu or both, and then try and either switch them round to make them see sense, patch up old ties, try and redeem themselves. That means they can actually be a familial unit again. There are many questions to be had here, and this has been the one to establish things. So that's pretty much what I could gather here. There are other little tidbits here and there, and the naming of the Gendarmerie Force, I think Haverock and we really need to kind of like just dig deep, or either just call upon the might of Kanzenshu's Herms to try and figure out the pronunciations and the meanings of all of these types of things. I still like Daima. I still really like the charm of it. That the first Demon World even was meant to be super serious. It's got a really, really cool looking castle, which I even think Vegeta would just go, you know what, that's actually not a bad castle, well done. Paragus' castle in the Broly movie didn't have a convenience store. That's already a win in my book. But yes, so episode 14, the fight has essentially begun because we're now heading toward the final point because they are in the first Demon World now. We've got about, well, 6 or 7 weeks to go, so there's going to be plenty of stuff to happen. I mean, from this point on, I don't really think there's going to be any more filler because, well, the first Demon World is now technically the smallest demon realm, so there's really not much to go on. The portal was literally above the castle, so there's really not much to find here. There's not really much going on because the temperature is 60 degrees Celsius, by the way, so I can imagine that many Americans would be just thinking, well, that's not really much, that's quite mild, that's like a spring day. No, it's 60 degrees Celsius, just so you know. I think it's like 120, 130, maybe even 140 Fahrenheit, just so we're clear here. And that's pretty much what we've got here. And oh, okay, I'll touch upon this quickly because I think people are talking about it and I'm being frustrated. I've seen Mark talking about it and Geekdom's had a rant about it, and I'm perfectly in agreement with them that Toei, Daima, what the hell? And for people that are just going to be watching the dub, they'll find out about this episode in about like 3 months or something like that. I mean, come off it. What is going on here? Why is Dragon Ball being treated like dirt and with disregard? The hype's going to be gone from this thing. This is partly why I'm just so frustrated and weary about making Dragon Ball content, because the people who are in charge of this just don't respect it. They're not treating this with the great fanfare, and people are not really going to be watching Daima because there's no hype about it. Because people who watch the sub will have gotten their fill and they'll have moved on to the next thing, and then the manga will come in and then all will be good. But the people who are watching the dub, it's just going to be drip fed. And I know that there is an argument to be had about whether you get batch content or drip by drip weekly content, the conventional thing, the traditional way. There's got to be a happy medium here because people know that the sub version exists already. So come on, just at least start the Daima dub with the 3 episodes supposedly that was shown in theaters. But yet, no, you just get episode 1. So I don't know what's being played at here. I really, really don't. Frustrating. Even though I don't really watch the dub, I'm more of a sub person because, well, you know, I want to watch Dragon Ball first. But realistically, that's my big gripe about it. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. I might make a longer, elaborate video about it, but yeah, as you can probably tell, my voice is almost there. The Goku voice is kinda almost there. It's just a little bit raspy at some points and at the end of the day, so it's going to take a little bit longer to recover. I have no idea what that was all about, but it was pretty scary, actually. I thought I wouldn't have been able to do my Goku or Gohan voice again for the rest of my life. That would have been terrifying. Even though I'm not really actively using the Goku Gohan voice, I just like to use it every now and again, just whip it out, and it's just sad I wouldn't be able to do it. But anyway, there you go. Episode 14, bridging episode, still looks really cool. We're now into the final arc, so I think the hype will start to rise up before we get to the final big battle or something like that. Anyway, hope you're doing well. Hopefully we can get some more content going. Now we're heading into the second half of January. I'm done with vacations now, and hopefully you'll start to see me a little bit more regularly, just so you know. Anyway, try and support the channel. Hope you enjoyed Daima. I'll see you around. Catch you later.